With everything going on in the world right now, it's easy to feel like you just can't keep up between everything getting more expensive and conflicts that seem to change by the hour. It's hard to even know what we're supposed to be preparing for. Just in this past week alone, fighting with Iran flared back up, oil prices spiked, and then the president called off a strike and prices dropped about 7% in a single day. And then right after that, Iran turned around and said that there weren't even any talks to begin with. And all that happened in just a matter of days. Trying to predict exactly what we're going to face is pretty much impossible. So instead of playing a never-ending guessing game where you fill up gas cans one week and then go and ransack the grocery store the next, we'd all be a lot better off if we just focus on our core areas of preparedness. If those are well-rounded, then we'll have a much better shot of making it through a wider range of situations, whether it's some economic calamity or a natural disaster that hits our hometown. And most of y'all probably seen my videos where I tell you to buy this or that before a certain deadline, and those are still useful, but this video is going to be a little different. Instead of chasing individual threats or items, we're going to talk about how to figure out where your preps stand across the board and how to know which areas you need to work on. The whole idea of being well-rounded comes down to one thing. You can't predict the exact disaster that's coming, but you can prepare for the handful of problems that happen as a result of almost any disaster out there. Hurricanes, bad winter storms, cyber attacks, and severe economic issues can all cause many of the same problems. Things like power outages, water utility failures, not being able to go to the grocery store, and then fuel shortages. Because of that, you don't actually have to know which particular threat is headed your way to prepare for it. You just need to deal with the problems that most threats tend to bring with them. Like back during the ice storm that we had in Texas a few years back. It didn't really matter whether you blamed the weather or the power grid for all the crap that happened. What really mattered in that moment was a ton of people lost power and water for several days, all at the same time, and the folks who came through it in the best shape weren't the ones that predicted the actual storm. They were the ones that had the forethought to put back some water and fuel and also had a reliable way to stay warm. And that's really the big problem with trying to prep solely based off of what you see on the news. The crisis that's getting all the coverage might not even be the one that bites you in the rear. Everybody could be watching what's happening with Iran, while the thing that really turns your life upside down turns out to be a wildfire. And also think about the old show Doomsday Preppers. A lot of folks they showed on there were preparing for one specific event, and they built all of their preps around the assumption that that was going to be the big one. But the danger of preparing in that way is you end up pigeonholing yourself. But if you're well-rounded and have your bases covered across the board, it doesn't matter what hits. You stand a much better chance of getting through whatever it is in decent shape. So getting into what being well-rounded looks like, there are a handful of core areas of preparedness that everyone should have covered. First, there's water. If your tap stopped working, could you provide your household with clean, safe water? And if so, for how long? Then, beyond having water stored, do you have the ability to collect and purify additional water if a situation drags on? After that, there's food, and there's a lot more to it than having a pantry stuffed full of beans and rice. Does your food have enough variety to actually keep your body going into disaster? Like, does it have a mix of fat, protein, and other nutrients? Have you set up your pantry to ensure that your food won't go bad? And if something does spoil, would you be able to spot it quick enough to prevent it from compromising the rest of your food? Then there's power. If electricity goes out, how long would you be able to keep a few lights going and also your phone charged? Would you be able to do things like run your fridge, freezer, or medical equipment for somebody in your family that depends on it? Then while cooking's kind of tied to food and power, it's also worth thinking about on its own. If your regular stove is down for days, do you have a safe way to cook? And for longer term situations, would you still have a way to cook after you ran out of butane or propane? And one really big thing that a lot of people overlook is medical needs. Do you keep enough of your regular medications on hand, plus some basic first aid supplies? And do you really know how to use them? Because knowing how to handle a common injury before it turns into a bigger problem is worth just as much as the supplies themselves. And then, do you know how to handle different kinds of waste in an emergency and how to keep your home clean when water utilities and trash services go offline? Because if you don't know how to do those things, then the chances of you having to deal with a serious medical situation go up significantly. After that, there's communication. If cell towers get jammed or knocked out entirely, how would you get information or contact your family? Even something simple like a small battery or hand crank radio could make a very big difference. Then another big one is security, and there's a lot more to this than people think. Firearms are definitely important, but they shouldn't be the only part of your plan. Things like good locks, lighting in the right places, and paying attention to what's going on around you can prevent problems, or at the very least give you an advantage if one shows up. And finally, do you have plans for staying put and for also getting out if you have to? Is your home set up for a long-term bug in, and have you thought about the situations that would require you to bug out? If you did have to leave, is it something that you and your loved ones have practiced, or would y'all be scrambling and leaving a bunch of important stuff behind? But with all this, you don't have to be an expert or perfect in every single area. That's something that a lot of folks get hung up on, and really it keeps them from being as prepared as they could be. What most people need is to get each area of preparedness off the ground and reach a solid, well-rounded level across the board. The problem is that a lot of us think that we're really more well-rounded than what we actually are. We tend to pour a lot of time and resources into the areas that we're more interested in, and either ignore or do what we consider to be the bare minimum on everything else. Like, I used to be the guy with a bunch of guns and ammo that didn't have any sort of dedicated food storage. My preps were extremely lopsided. They were strong in one area but weak everywhere else. And it can be really hard to see how prepared you actually are when all of your supplies and gear are scattered all over the place and your plans are only in your head. And those are exactly the problems that the well-rounded Prepper Readiness Binder was built to fix. The whole idea behind it is to take all of the most important areas of preparedness and put them in one place so that you can see where you're in good shape, and more importantly, the areas that could cause you some really big problems in a disaster. I made this to be as simple as possible. There's a readiness wheel that breaks your preps down into the 9 core areas of preparedness, things like water, food, power, and security. We have our example wheel here, along with a larger one that you can fill out yourself. Each area has its own wedge and is scored on a level 1 to 4 scale. Level 1 basically means you have nothing in place. Level 3 means you're well-rounded, you've got the basics covered, and then some. And then level 4 is where you've got some pretty serious capability, probably way more than what you'd realistically need to get through most events. The goal here isn't to hit level 4 in 1 or 2 areas. It should be to reach level 3 in everything. You want to be solid all the way around before you spend a lot of time and resources specializing in any one thing. Doing that will help keep you from being lopsided. Here we have the first page of the water tab, and towards the bottom we have our 4 color-coded levels. It shows you which level you're at based on things like how much water you have stored, the types of purification methods you have, and whether or not you have a renewable water source like a rainwater harvesting system. You use that information to fill in the water wedge on the readiness wheel. Then the rest of the tab goes into the different ways to store water, the 4-step purification system that I use for my family, and a water inventory sheet. All the tabs are laid out that way. You have the level ladder on the first page to show you where you are and what to do next, information you can use to help you build up your preps in that area, and then worksheets to help you keep everything organized. And once you fill the wheel in, the picture just kind of jumps out at you. You'll see very quickly if you've got food stacked to the ceiling but nothing filled in under water or power. It shows you at a glance whether or not you're lopsided, and it'll help motivate you to fix the areas that you're weak in. The reason why I made this as a binder instead of just a checklist is that a checklist tells you what to buy. This tells you where you actually stand and where your next dollar should go. It's less of just a normal shopping list and more of a way to help make better decisions about how you prepare. Then at the very end, I have an entire chapter of emergency reference cards to use for things like natural disasters or medical emergencies when the internet's down and help can't get to you right away. The Well-Rounded Prepper Readiness Binder is live today, and you can get it using the links in the description and pinned comment down below. And I know that money's tight right now, but that's the whole reason that I put this thing together. It's built to help you spend your money smarter, not spend more. You figure out where you're weak, put your next little bit of money there, and skip the stuff that you don't need as much. It's only $25, but it'll save you a lot of time, money, and effort. And since it's something that you download and print, you can reprint and redo things like the inventory worksheets and your readiness wheel as many times as you need to. But whether you use the binder or not, looking at all the different areas of preparedness and trying to figure out your weak spots can feel like a huge task. A lot of folks will look at what they need to do and figure that there's really no way that they can do it all, and I totally get that, but you don't have to do everything at once. The best way to go about this is to work it in phases. Instead of dumping everything that you have into one area and trying to get it perfect, just bring everything up one level at a time. For phase one, just get everything off the ground. That could be just a few days of water, some food you can eat without cooking, flashlight with some spare batteries, a basic first aid kit, and a little cash put back. None of that's really fancy or cost a whole lot of money. You just want to make sure that none of your core areas of preparedness are sitting at nothing. Then, once you have your baseline established, go back through and stretch things out. Turn your few days of water into a couple of weeks worth. Maybe add a way to cook food off grid and a way to purify water once your stored water runs low. And after you're solid all the way around, then go deeper if it makes sense to. That's the same idea as the levels in the binder. You get every area off the ground and then work towards making your preps well-rounded before you go crazy in any one place. The good thing about this is that it takes a little bit of the pressure off. Like, you never have to do a ton of mess at one time. You're getting off the ground and then continuing to make small improvements as you go. Even making small amounts of progress will get you in way better shape than what you were in before. But one thing that a lot of preppers skip is actually putting their preps to the test. And that's important, since you'd rather find out that something doesn't work now when you can still fix it, instead of when everything else is falling apart too. So every now and then, run yourself a little drill. Go flip the breaker on a weeknight and try to get through the evening on just your backup power setup. Cook a full meal on that camp stove instead of your regular stove top. Drink the water that you've stored, or run some through your filter and see if you can actually trust it. And if you've got a plan to bug out, time yourself loading up and getting out the door and see if it's anywhere close to what you figured it would be in your head. You may be pretty surprised how things turn out. Like, batteries may have gone bad sitting in a drawer, your stove could be way harder to use than you thought it would be, or you might just use more water than you thought you would. The whole point of all this is to not get caught off guard, and you can't really know how your plan holds up until you tested it at least once. The bottom line, though, is that headlines are going to continue to be all over the place. It's not going to get better, but if your preps are well-rounded, you don't have to try to predict the future. You'll be covered in the vast majority of situations we could deal with, and even if you're not fully covered, you'll probably still be way better off than what you would have been otherwise. If you want to take a real look at where you stand and what to do next, the Well-Rounded Prepper Readiness Binder was designed specifically for that. You can get to it using the link in the description below and also the pinned comment, but either way, let me know. Leave a comment and tell me which category is your weakest. I did a poll last week, but it only let me put up like 5 options, and that doesn't cover everything. But if you want to see items that could become more expensive or harder to find before September 1st, then click here. Or if you want to see cheap ways to stay cool during a summer power outage, then click here. Thank y'all for stopping by. Y'all have a good one.